Hello. So it's Thursday again, back with Thursday Night Live. So back with our usual hour of talking all things Sunderland in a bit of a happy mood after the last weekend. So join us tonight. We've got Terry, the Mad Mistake. I understand you've been out and about in Storm Curran. Have you dried off yet?
Aye, just about. Nice, and I love a nice storm. Like, quite enjoyed it down by sea and beach again, watching the waves come over the top of my head. But it was all right, Kenny. Aye, woke us up.
Any more fish ops and all?
Aye, went to Gills this time. Trying out Gills tonight. It's quite nice to be fair.
Well, watch out for that video coming up on your channel, innit?
Aye, definitely. Aye, later on tomorrow morning at some point.
Great stuff. Also on the show tonight, we've got Jack Shields. Jack, how was your week going, friend? You all right?
Yeah, it's dragging a little bit, I must admit, but yeah, Thursday night and all things Sunderland, as you said. I think Terry's going to be one of those blokes that they talk about on the news that gets too close to the water, isn't he? You know what I mean? We are reminding people not to get too close. It's treacherous conditions. You see Terry there with his fish and chips. Yeah, no, no, yeah, please. Obviously, you mentioned we've got a good win to talk about and a preview of Swansea, so lots to talk about. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Great stuff. Cheers, Jack. And also on the show, we've got Mike. Mike Sporting, he's there. He's nice new top there. Looks very smart. How are you doing, Mike? How's your weekend? How's the baby?
I thought I was a medium, but this large fits quite well. Yep, baby's good. Lack of sleep, usual parental antics. But yeah, other than that, all good. It's nice to have a positive atmosphere at the show today for a change over the last 3 or 4.
Right, certainly is. Just been mentioning Toff there, so don't forget, you know, we have got the sponsorship with Toffs this season. Head across there's descriptions in the description below for Toffs. 15% discount with the code SAFN 15. Like I say, Christmas coming up. I think it's only something like 52 days to Christmas, and it's 52 shopping days or something. It's flying by. So get yourself on there and have a look at the website. So, like we always say, you can get involved with the show by getting in the live chat. Already in there, we've got Las Palmas Mackham says, evening lads, FTM. David Joblin, good evening lads. Ryan McCormack's in there, good evening Sunderland supporters. Hopefully 3 points at Swansea. Mickey Mack, evening everybody. However, everyone Emma's in there. Evening lads, how we're doing. Sophie's in there. How are you? The Mad Mistake. How are you doing, the Mad Mistake? And you're on mute.
Start how you mean
That's
to go.
Started really early, hasn't it? That's not a good sign for the night, is it? I'm champion. Cheers.
Good stuff. Laid back Jackson now, everyone. Jack, evening all. Mad Mistakes in there, champion. Sophie says good. And Jeff says evening all. So, like we've said, can you also hit that like button as well? 55 watching at the moment. I've got 9 likes on my phone. It might be a bit more than that. But if you can smash that like button, we'll try and get to 100 before the end of the hour. So, Norwich at the weekend and looking to bounce back from them 2 poor defeats and their starting lineup. So, Nasri Russian, we've all been calling for him to get a start these last few weeks. Mike, what was your thoughts when you saw the team? You know, Russian one change from Mason Burstow from the Leicester game.
Happy, because I think I've been calling for that in the last 2 shows that he needs to get a start, and I think he shone in it. I think he did really well. He started much better than Burstow started, I think, so far. So it'd be nice to see once we start actually passing it to a striker or a striker gets in the right position. It'll be great.
Well, when we're seeing the team, I thought was half expecting Jack Clark to play up front and Russian play on the left, but it wasn't like Russian actually started up front. And to be fair, he looked decent. Terry, when you saw the lineup, were you surprised that Job was playing? And everybody, because we all thought we were going to try and give him a rest and take him out the side for Pritchard to come in, but he kept him in and just made the one change.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Russian started. I was over the moon, to be fair, because like I say, we've given Burstow plenty of opportunities. I thought he would stick with Burstow for a couple of more games, but he started Russian, and like Mike said, I thought he had a decent first start. You know, looked sharp, and probably give their defence a little bit something else to think about.
I agree. Like you say, he looked decent. He looked very, very sharp, and some of the runs he was making off the ball, you know, good signs for the future. Jack, are you in agreement with the lads that it was nice for to see Russian, you know, getting his first start? We've all been crying for him to get in the side.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see how we got on because we haven't seen much of him. Do you know what I mean? Here we are we're in November now, but last week we were getting towards November and we haven't really seen much of him. So it was nice to see him. I think we all know what Burstow's about, and he's not really set the world alight, has he? You know what I mean? To be fair, he's had one or two decent games. He can put himself about a little bit, but I think Rushan's going to be a completely different type of striker. It's going to be someone who can run in behind, a little bit more tricky, probably better ball control. And I was impressed. I thought he was quite sharp for somebody who hasn't had that much football. That's the worry, isn't it? When you're bringing a player from a different country, haven't played much, you're thinking, how are they going to get on? Real tests for them in terms of fitness. How will he match up to the standard? And I thought he did all right. I thought he made some good runs. He was tricky. He caused their defence a couple of problems a few times. I thought he did start and tire slightly towards the second half, and I think it was probably the best thing to bring him off. But no, I was fairly impressed, and we've all been crying out for it. And yeah, it was nice to see, because I think sometimes you need to give players a chance, don't you? And I think yeah, I was really impressed.
Nice one, great stuff, Jack. Terry, did you want in there?
Yeah, there's a lot of times I was watching him, and he was making good runs and getting in good spaces, but the team weren't really sort of playing to the strengths and sort of doing what they would normally do, play with a bunch of midfielders and kind of sort of forget about Rushan and sort of being there now up front with the speed. So when they get used to playing with a proper striker, then we might see a few more goals.
Yeah. Jack?
Yeah, just to sort of back up what Terry's saying, I think it'll help us, because teams know we like to play football and like to play out from the back, so the press is quite high up. I think having a quick centre forward in behind, if we can knock that ball in behind, it'll push the defence back about 10 or 15 yards, because they'll be worried about Rushan running in behind. I don't think we've really, I mean, I know we've got quick wingers, but we haven't had that quick out ball as much, so I think that'll be helpful, do you know what I mean, in terms of when we're a little bit under the cosh. If we can get Rushan, further up the field, and then defences might start and push back a little bit, and it'll give us more space to play. So yeah, I think that's another important from a tactic perspective.
I noticed on Saturdays he was looking to make that run in behind, but whether it's because obviously it's his first start, we're not used to the way he plays type of thing in actual game time. Once we start getting to understand how he plays, and I think them runs will start picking him out, and it'll kind of be only benefit us really. But in typical Sunderland fashion, we started off, I wouldn't say poorly, but it was a bit of a damn squid one at the first 15 minutes, wasn't it really? But what was your thoughts, Terry, on the first 15, 20 minutes of the game? And obviously we go a goal down, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like fast up the blocks and really going for it, but I thought Norwich would now flash either, so I thought it was quiet for both teams, to be fair. And like I say, it's just getting used to the new personnel up front. Rushan, and he was making a lot of runs, but the players were sort of bypassing him till they get used to him. But it was the same sort of typical home performance in the first kind of 15 minutes, very slow, getting off the blocks. But I know we'll go into their goal very shortly, which the offside rule is bizarre at the moment. But yeah, for me, it was just like one of those typical Sunderland home performances in the first 10-15 minutes.
Aye, getting onto the goal. I'll come to you, Jack. Like you say, with typical Sunderland fashion, we end up getting a goal down at home. You think, here we go again. And just being on about Job, bit of a mistake. And he's had one or two of them in the last couple of games where he's tried these little fancy flicks and tricks and it hasn't come off. And he's lost the ball in a dangerous area and they have brought away. Now, that offside rule, was he offside? Is he interfering with player? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was a couple of mistakes, wasn't it? Obviously, you touched on Job. He tried something that didn't quite work, and then there wasn't a great deal of pressure on the lad that played the ball in behind. Then the offside rule, you used to know where you were with it, but I think there's a slight grey area. I'm a big believer in old school. You play to the whistle. I think we should have just put that ball into Rose Ed. We took a chance that the offside was going to come, and it didn't, and then we're in trouble. I think it was the fullback missed his tackle, and then suddenly they've got a 3-on-2 in the middle, and it results in a goal. Our fans were critical at the time, and in olden days, that probably would have been offside, but because the player doesn't actually touch the ball, even though he goes near it, which in my opinion, old school, that would be interfering with play. Terry will probably back us up on that. He did look like he interfered with play because he didn't technically touch the ball. He's not involved with that phase of play, and then the lad. But I think really it's naive from us. We should just put the ball out. And it was a really soft goal to give away in a game that was going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? We've touched on the first 15 or 20 minutes. It was flat. Wasn't a lot of quality from either teams. It was neither nothing to something, and then suddenly we're 1-0 down. And my worry was, would the crowd turn a little bit? I mean, I love our supporters, and I think our fans are great. But at the stadium, I can be a bit of a difficult place for the home team to play. Sometimes if the fans are, intense and they're getting on the backs a little bit, that was my worry. Would our fans? But thankfully we didn't. And actually, I think it helped us because I think it gave us a kick up the backside. And I think going 1-0 down was probably the best thing because we didn't start and play until we went 1-0 down. But yeah, it was a soft goal to give away, I would agree with.
Aye, very soft. But Jack, who would you say who would you lay the blame at? Would you? I mean, we've just been saying Joe there. Do you think it's not Ekwa kind of stopped and didn't play to the whistle, but like you say, it should have been cleared from that point?
Yeah, I think Ekwa should have gotten rid of it personally. I mean, I think the fullback was a little bit late. I never know who's playing left back and who's right back for us. Was it Hume that was left back or was it Huggins? Huggins at left back. I know there's sometimes swap, don't they? And I think he was a little bit late in reacting. And by the time he'd got to the tackle, their lad was through. But I think really that should just be put out. So I think I would probably lay the blame mainly at Ekwa. But obviously you touched on Bellingham trying something. But I think if Ekwa goes near the ball and just puts it into row Z in the east stand, we don't concede. But in hindsight, you know, it's a wonderful thing.
It is, it is. You're right, Mike. Now, what was your thoughts on the first 20 minutes? And then obviously we concede that first goal, and you think here we go again, coming off the back of them defeats. And like Jack's just been saying there, that the crowd could have easily turned. But to be fair to the Norwich lad, you know, he took it well.
I don't think it was totally flat for that first 20 minutes. I think Clark hit the post just before they scored. So we had the opportunities. I was pleasantly optimistic, but as soon as that goal went in, I was like, here we go again. I was one of those fans. You know, usually I'm the optimistic one, but yeah, I sunk for a minute then. But it's nice that the lads turned on for it. Regarding the offside, to be honest, I'm with Jack on the fact that it would be interfering with play. It was exactly on the run, the path of the ball. Everyone's concentrating on the man that's running for the ball, and he's the furthest ahead, so it's clearly offside. Obviously, all the defenders are going to start to slow up. You know, nobody wants to sprint their ass off for something they don't have to. And it's only when, is it Wang came down behind? You know, yeah, he had a great game for them, to be fair. I think he's a good player.
He stood out in a poor side like he did. I agree there. But, Terry, was he offside? You know, we'll keep going, but they keep changing these rules to kind of help the attacking teams and what have you. But, you know, to me, he was interfering with play. I don't know what your thoughts are.
What I could remember was he went for the ball, then he stopped. And it kind of, for me, that's interfering with the play because you're taking the defender away. You're taking the defenders going with that running man. So if that player's going for the ball, the defender's going with that play, he's marking man to man. So then when he leaves it and goes through to the next phase, so for me, I personally think it was offside, but I suppose you should play to the whistle. But at the same time, I was pissed off, pardon me French, because why should Ekwa get a yellow card for just having an opinion? Simple as. It was just stating his opinion. He didn't swear at the referee at all accounts. So how does he get a yellow card? It's not like a really sort of a person who'd be in your face and being sort of nasty or whatever. He's probably just being polite, saying, I was offside, it was offside. He gets a yellow card straight away. I'm going to watch the goal again now. It's on here now. Let's watch it again here. Ball goes through. There he goes. He goes for the ball. Ekmar's putting his hand up saying offside. He goes for the ball. And as he goes for the ball, he turns and runs away from the ball. And Ekmar's obviously being distracted, hasn't he? And then Wang goes and does a good finish, puts the ball in the back of the net. So, but like I say, I mean, the officials and I think the supporters and probably even the players don't really understand the offside rule properly, do they? So let's watch it again. There, he shields the ball. He's running towards. He goes towards the ball, puts his back to the player, shields the ball, and then when the ball goes past him and sees the player run past him, he lets the ball go. And that's distracted Ekwa. But obviously, I mean, players will probably get used to the rules as games go on. And he'll, like Dan Neil did the other week with the red card. I think he'll learn from that and realise next time, like Jack says, stick it in row Z.
Get rid of it. You're right. Yeah. If in doubt, get it out.
That player knew exactly what he was doing as well, because he didn't just stop, halt, and put his hands up. If I remember right, he peels off in the direction of the way the player was going. So he doesn't just stop instantly. He's running slow towards the ball as he comes away. He knew exactly what he was doing. It's
almost like I felt he got a shout from the other Norwich player that actually ran onto it. I don't know if the Norwich player ran on and went leave it type thing. And because I agree, Mike, he did look like he was going to go, and then all of a sudden he sort of put the brakes on. And I don't know if that Norwich player running up said leave it, and then he suddenly twigged, oh, I'm offside if I touch it. But I think it was soft from our perspective. I mean, you can sort of, if a team plays through you and sometimes you have to give it them and say it was a good goal, but that was a really avoidable goal. And I just thought that, you know, when we're going through a bad run of form and the crowd's on edge anyway, I just thought it was such a soft, sloppy goal to give away. But in actual fact, like you say, we're probably going to come onto it. But I think it gave us a kick up the backside. It was probably the best thing for the game. But you don't know that at the time, do you?
That's right, Terry.
And if he puts his body between the man and the ball, shoot, that's interfering with play.
Well, that's it, innit? That's
what I kind of go for the ball because he's in the way of the player and the ball. So that's got to be interfering with play. I mean, like I say, I'm not 100% sure about the rules myself.
I don't think even the linesman and the referees are half the time.
Like somebody said, he went to flag the linesman and changed his mind when he walked away from the ball. So I don't know.
Aye, very poor. Very quickly back in the chat. Emma says we need to have a bet to who stays on mute every show. Well, I think we know who'll win that hands down. John Nesbitt says, evening lads. Mickey Maxson says in the press comments Russian will be starting again on Saturday. Jeff said he's got yellow boots, so he must be class. Terry, you put there, Keno told me Colin Nightmare. John Nesbitt says Russian will get better. It's probably been a massive shock. This championship is far tough. Men, when he finally scores, he'll relax and get better. David Jones says there's only one Terry Wall. Lot of Terry fans in here at night. David says the linesman was
good. We all drink another.
How much has he paid them though, Wayne? That's the thing.
Emma
Fish
says
and chips.
Aye, it's free chips. Emma said the same happened with Rashford of the season. It's not very clear rule at all. Peter Harvey says, good evening, lads. We must not sell Jack Clark, give him a new contract. We need to get to the playoffs or a second place, give Joe a break or make him come on as a sub, put Russian as a striker. Bulldogs in there, true SAFC Fan TV fashion. Yeah, even we more when we win. This is it. David, I think their player saying that Elijah was going to flag and stopped. Emma said, Mike, we wouldn't be true fans if we didn't moan. And Jack, you can't say leave it against the rules, but you are right. That's probably what happened.
Is it against the rules? Is it against the rules for one of your own players to shout leave it? I'm not. If it is, I'm not aware of that. I think it is for the other team to shout it, but I wouldn't have thought it was against the rules for your own player to shout leave it. I might be wrong with that, but
somebody
very much doubt that.
Is any referees out there? Put it in the comments. Is it illegal to say leave it? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But we quite luckily, I suppose, we get the equaliser, didn't we? You know, Hume with a deflected shot. And like you've just been saying, Jack, that goal probably gave us a kick up the arse that we needed. Tony Mowbray himself said some of the players themselves need a good slap. Ekwa being one of them before they got on the pitch. So that kind of woke us up a little bit. And I think we started to play and started to dominate. I think they sat back a little bit once they got the goal, and we kind of just dominated them and took over.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of both, like you say. I think that they immediately, it's a show of respect, really, how teams play against us at the stadium. Like, they'll go 1-0 up, naturally they're going to start and sit back a little bit. But I thought we suddenly started to find our tempo a little bit, didn't we? Started knocking about a little bit. And I know Mike touched on Clark hitting the post beforehand, but it was a little bit fortunate. But sometimes we've been critical on this pod, haven't we? We say we don't shoot enough. Sometimes I think we might have said it last week or the week before. I'm not an advocate of shooting from 50, 60 yards away, but sometimes I feel we do get near the box and there's too much trying to tip-tap here and trying to score the perfect goal or leave somebody with an open net. But we have a little bit of luck that we've probably deserved over the last few weeks with the decision that goes against us. And I think it was critical because it was before half-time and suddenly, right, let's start again. You know, it's 1-1, level terms. And after that, really, there was only one team that was going to win. It wasn't. I can't really recall Norwich having any sort of chance between then and full-time. I might be wrong with that, but I can't recall them testing Patterson or if he had a shot save or any chances at all. Obviously, we get the second before half-time, and yeah, it turned into a decent afternoon. But I think the going to 1-0 down was actually a good thing for us.
100%. They give us the wake-up call. Terry, you know, we've been saying on this for weeks and weeks about trying to water in the back of the net and Roberts and Clark and what have you. But to be fair, Hume, when he has got the chance to shoot, he tends to take it on, and he, you know, it was definitely heading towards goal, but the deflection obviously took it in, but just what we needed at the right time.
I couldn't stop laughing at this vision of like Tony Mowbray lining all his players up at the start of the match and slapping the ones who wants to win. You need to wake up, slap. It was 14 minutes later, wasn't it? So as soon as Wang scored, then we started the tempo going, like Jack said, we started playing better football. And like Ekwa, just before Wang scored, he had a shot from outside the penalty box, and the keeper sort of parried it back to the defenders. So Ekwa is not frightened of a shot. He scored a couple of decent goals already. But Hume's goal, yeah, outside the box, sort of was it Clark who got to give him the ball, and then he just took a pot shot, didn't he? Pot shot, and sort of deflected off the defender, and the keeper had no chance. So I was pleased to get back into the game so soon, because when that goal's in, you're thinking, oh, not another flipping referee or linesman out is going to cost us the game again, and you start to get a bit irate and everything. But to come back so like 14 minutes is not that much, to be fair. So I was pleased to get back in the game so soon. So yeah, well, I was out of the moon, and a lot of Norwich fans have been talking to me and saying this is the worst Norwich team for years. So don't get carried away with the result. It's probably Norwich. This Norwich team will probably be in the bottom 6 or 7. They reckon it's that bad.
I heard some Norwich fans before the game on. I think they were on some podcast for the game, and they were saying they were all expecting us to win 4 and 5-1. They said they were absolutely terrible. They've got no faith in Wagner. They've been struggling, big style so far. Jack?
I was just going to say that there were. I watched a video of the match from a Norwich perspective from the end, and towards the end of shouting Wagner out. Like, so I think he's got a tough job on to keep his job. To be fair, it sounds like they're struggling. Sometimes it is hard to judge, but you can only beat what's in front of you. Do you know what I mean? You play everybody twice, so we can only turn up on the day. But it might have been if we pick up in the next few weeks, you might look back and think Norwich at home was quite a good fixture for us to have. Do you know what I mean? Having 3 losses in a row, having a team that are low on confidence and playing them at home, it might have been a stroke of luck that we played them rather than like a team that's sort of going well.
Aye, 100%. Mike, thoughts on the goal? Like you say, we started after the goal, we started to slowly get on top, and then we get the goal. A little bit lucky, but deserved, I thought.
Yeah. Was it going in anyway? I couldn't see the angles. Yeah, it's the EFL camera angles as usual, so I don't know if it was going in anyway. But
has Hume been given the goal, or was it given as a Duffy own goal?
They said Hume over the Tannoy. That's all that matters to us.
I think BBC Sport had given it to him. I think the keeper might have had it. It was probably on target, but the keeper might have had it bar the deflection. Don't know.
Yeah, could have been that. Could have been a beach ball. We take them all. It's not a problem. But yeah, it's like I say, with 14 minutes in between the 2 goals, it's great to get back in that quick, and then you just hope that momentum carries them forward. And yeah, Norwich just shut off. They just didn't. I mean, we went a goal down, and you saw the hunger come, and Norwich go a goal down, and they just looked defeated. I think that's the difference in where you finish in the Championship this season.
Aye, not a bad shout, actually. Very quickly back in the chat, John Nesbitt said it is, mate. John says should be a good game against Swansea, decent team, play the game right way. Jim Nesbitt says offside wasn't offside. Alt ending Sunderland versus Norwich video shows Trey Hume playing the attacker on side. Well, I haven't seen it, so I'm not too sure. And from where we sat, it looked offside, but like you say, it's angles are all different, isn't there? Jimmy Nesbitt's correction item about the video. Laid back Jack says, Jim and John brothers. Good shout, actually. Not that I know of, says Jim. Let's clear that up. So what we know in recent weeks, Jack Clark, he's been absolutely flying. He's torturing defences, and the second goal right on half time. I think the run he makes, I think he takes 5 Norwich players out of the game. A little through ball to Dan Neil, and Dan Neil again, another player who's probably, I would say, alongside Clark, our most important player at the minute. And really calm, took it really, really well, chipped it over the goalkeeper. It's 2-1 right on half time. And Jack, your thoughts on the goal? Was a really, really good work, well-worked goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was excellent. I mean, if Man City or Barcelona or Real Madrid had someone had scored that, it'd be all over social media, wouldn't it? But no, it was excellent. I thought the way that Clark's ability on the ball to just, keep it with both feet and maintain his balance is fantastic. And I mean, he's a quick player, but he can also play when the game's slowed down and it's tight. You know what I mean? I mean, we've all got visions of Jack Clark breaking free and cutting in from the left-hand side and banging on the top corner. But his ball control when there's players close to him is quite good as well. I mean, like you say, Wayne, he took, was it 4 or 5 players out of the game? And it was an excellent run as well. Dan Neil had the intelligence to make that run. Not many Sunderland players on our side, I don't think, would see that run. Never mind see it and then make it. Jack Clark found him, and then quality finish again. Lots of players would have snatched at it or smashed it. Dan Neil had the composure to dink it in the net. It was a really, really good goal, and set us on the platform for the second half. When really, I mean, I was confident, even though we're only 1 goal in front. I was confident that we would go on to win the game. I mean, I would have liked the third a little bit earlier than we got it. Don't get me wrong, but it was an excellent goal, and just another one to add to the collection in the last year or so that we've scored. So we've had some corkers, haven't we? But yeah, it was right up there.
No, 100% well said, Jack. Mike, your thoughts on the second goal? Came, just at the right time, didn't it? And a great finish from Dan Neil, but again, class from Jack Clark.
Yeah, always class from Jack Clark. And what I liked was that he found Dan Neil, that he found somebody. He didn't just go for that shot. I think that's what we need to see more of these wingers, and we'll start to see the strikers come into play, because Dan Neil was exactly where you wanted Rusyn to be, or Burstow in weeks before. And he found that run in the centre, and if you look at it on the replay, there's an acre of space either side of him. It's like perfectly slot through the middle. So, yeah, it was a textbook. I'll describe it as textbook. That's what I'd say.
Like you stand. Terry, all the Norwich players seem to be attracted to Jack Clark, which left the space for Dan Neil.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Ekwar's doing that holding midfield role now, so it gives Dan Neil license to go forward and express himself a little bit more. But like we said, the goals we've scored over the last couple of seasons, we can play really good football, clever football, and some of the goals we come out with every now and again are superb, and that was one of them goals, Jack Clark with his superb skills on the left-hand side, dragging the players away. Neil with his football and brain works his way through the middle, and it just shows how good these players can be on the day, And individual performances like Neil and Clark are just absolutely brilliant. And when Ekwar gets back to his best, we've got a really good midfield. I
mean, Terry, I remember you on this channel a couple of years ago screaming for Dan Neil to be playing week in, week out, and look where he is now.
I remember that time when it was pre-season a few seasons ago when he put the through ball to Grigg, to Will Grigg, and it was a perfect laid him on. I mean, he still missed the shot. I think I'm not sure if he scored or missed or whatever. It was a perfect ball from the midfield. So
of course he didn't score. Terry, it's called Grigg.
He's been getting better and better every season. You can see why like Liverpool are interested in Dan Neil. For them it's another Henderson, isn't it?
Aye, that's the thing. That's the worry. Let's just hope he's a Sunderland and he wants to stay and see it through with us. Just before we go into the second half, we've got 76 people watching. We're currently on 31 likes, so we're on track to hit that 100. If we can get a like a minute, we'll hit that 100 before we get. Well, we might get there. We might get there. My maths were a little bit off there, I think.
Just a bit, just a bit.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day. So, Jack, you said for the second half, to be fair, I think it was just total domination from us, and I think at one point they might have had the ball for 5-10 passes, and I think even their fans were shouting, "We've got the ball." So it just shows you, second half we totally dominated from start to finish.
Yeah, there was only that one where they had a half chance where I think it clipped the top of the crossbar, but other than that, I can't really remember them getting in behind or anything. But it's always a worry when you're 2-1, and we know, like, as Sunderland fans, are always a little bit nervy, and what can go wrong, what can possibly go wrong, will usually go wrong. So it was nice to get that third. Clark again, he gets goals. I mean, it's another penalty, but he got the penalty himself. He was quick. Their lad was dilly-dallying with the ball, and he managed to get in behind, take the ball off him, and then again another silly mistake from the defender. He dives in, we get the penalty, and it's slotted away, and we wrap up the points. But yeah, it was a really controlled effort. Again, if we can play like that most weeks at home, bar the first goal, the first goal that went in, the first sort of flat-ish start, I think we'll be okay, but I think we've just got to keep it going. If we've got another chance against Birmingham next week, no reason why we should be favouring them, and hopefully we can continue on.
I think Birmingham shot themselves in the foot by getting rid of Eustace and appointing Rooney. They've lost every game so far, haven't they? So crazy decision. But Terry's second half, was just totally dominated by us. They just sat back as if they didn't want to know. They was kind of surrendered and gave the game up, I think. But I was just for the penalty. I was just before we got the penalty, I was hoping that Jack Clark could have squared to Emea to get his first goal. Another kind of couple of nearly moments for him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like I say, it's one of you get his moment in the sun. I think he'll probably come better next season. To me, I think he's still a bit too young and a bit too naive, and not up to their sort of run of play. But yeah, the second half was a good performance. Early on in the second half, Norwich had an opportunity where they did sort of come in on the right hand side, a cross came over and they sort of headed it towards it. Did it hit the post or did it graze whatever it was? Let's watch it there again. Yeah, I think Patterson maybe has pushed it away or saved on the post. So they had one or two opportunities, but they didn't really create a great deal and they weren't really going to threaten our goal after that. And you see, you got the penalty with Jack Clarke. It's 100% penalty. I mean, it goes through and was taken down. I mean, right in front of me. So had to be 100% penalty if my eyes thought it was. And then obviously he scored every single penalty so far, so it was spot on, like usual. Jack Clarke from the spot on. Anyway, I'm pleased to get the 3 points. And when you go on a run of three defeats on the trot, your head starts to go down. You start to think, is this actually working? Are the players are they peaked? Are they going to start to sort of, we're sort of going to go down the table a little bit because the table's so close. So many teams, within 4 or 5 points. And Middlesbrough above us, now Middlesbrough below us because they got beat off Stoke. Stoke were rubbish early on in the season. They've won the last 3 games. So just so many ebbs and flows with form. I'm watching Clark's penalty here as well. He just takes his time, places the keeper straight down. I like a penalty down the middle. I really do like to see someone smash it. Top of the middle of the goal. Keeper always dives, no chance. So they're happy days, 3 points. I'm over the moon with that.
Happy days, well said, well said. Mike?
Yeah, penalty down the middle shows how much confidence he's got shooting now. I think if he wasn't so confident, there's no way to put one down the middle. But he knows the fans ain't going to turn on him, even if he misses one penalty. So yeah, the second half dominated. I mean, I do feel sorry for Norwich because fancy losing, and you've got a quality defender like Danny Bath on the bench.
Well, I couldn't understand that. The podcast on Norwich before the game, they were saying he's not started a game for them yet, and the form that they're in, I just didn't understand how he's not getting a game because, to me, the defensively they were shocking. So he's exactly who should be in there.
Yeah.
Terry?
Yeah, and then you think about it, we've got Ballard on four yellow cards, Luke 9 on 4 yellow cards. So who would you rather come in, Sleet or Danny Bath? So he's sitting on the bench over there. Could be sitting on our bench, couldn't he?
Aye, 100%. Back in the chat, Jim Nesbitt says Jack Clarke is a god. Lovely slotted space. Ice cool finish from Dan Neil. Russian made the run across to move one of the defenders a bit. John Nesbitt says proper goal. That second goal quality move. John Ruddick says they need to keep Clarke at least till the end of the season. John Nesbitt's back in there again, saying Sunderland only in second gear against Norwich. My second half, probably to be fair, we probably were. We didn't have to step it up, did we? And Jim Nesbitt says Jack Clarke waits for the goal to move and then goes the other way. So, finally on Norwich, man of the match. Terry, who was your man of the match?
Oh, I tell you what it is. I like Clarke's performance and Dan Neil's performance. I think they both did exceptionally well. And I'm just going to give it to Clarke. I think it's just some days he's just unplayable, isn't he?
I think you tortured them. I'll give it to Dan Neil, but it was very close between the two. Jack, who was your man of the match?
Yeah, there were the two obvious ones. It was a toss-up between the two of them. I'll probably give it to Jack Clarke just because he got a goal and an assist. So I think I would probably just nudge it to him. But Dan Neil was excellent as well. And really, I think, when those two were playing and they're on form and I think there's going to be a few championship teams are going to struggle with them. Do you know what I mean? I think with it, and if we can get on the right hand side as well, and Dan Neil pushing forward and attacking wise, when you look at it, really, we've got some really, really good players in attacking positions, aren't we? It's just maybe strength in depth a little bit, more in the middle and at the back. If we can improve those, I don't think we're far away from a promotion team. I think we're getting there, but I think it might be another year. But that performance is just how capable we can be going forwards. It was really, really good to see.
It is, and you think a year ago, Jack, Norwich were the team who just come down from the Premier League, and we were all terrified of playing them, weren't we, at the time? And look how things have changed. Mike?
Yeah, it'd been Neil for me. Clarke always does well. His goal was a penalty, so that's a gimme. But Neil, for me, turns the play every time, starts the attacking plays. He's always looking for that run. And just the vision he's got to find like the runs that our strikers should be doing. So yeah, he played himself off the back.
I totally agree. I think Terry touched on in the last show how important he is when he against Stoke when he wasn't there, how much we missed him, and when he came back in against Leicester, a different team altogether. Right, just before we move on to Swansea, I've just got a few things I want to go through. But Marianne and Carl Taylor just put a comment in there. just now there, and also put a comment in one of my videos earlier on. Now, apparently, the club have took the SAFC app off iPhone. So now, I think they live in America. They can't stream the games now through SAFC. So I just want to know what your thoughts are about that. You know, they've only left the SAFC app on Android. You can't get it on iPhone. So now they haven't got the function to do it on iPhone. Mike, have you got a suggestion?
Well, to be honest, you have to make sure that it's the club that's done that, because iOS are notorious for doing an update and stripping people's apps out, saying, "Oh, you don't meet our criteria anymore." Bang. So we don't know if the club's working its socks off to make it compatible for the new iOS or anything like that. So it could be Apple that's removed it. So until we know for sure, I'd just be careful, you know.
Good old Apple. Good old Apple. DJ Sizzler Watson there, so he sent a text. I've knocked something off as my text being sent. Well, your message has been delivered, but I don't know if you mean something else, and Jack's put in there, send it again. See what happens. So I've just been looking through some social media before we came on the show, and apparently Abdullah Ba might be going to miss January and February because he might be going to switch a lines from France to a Mauritian island in next to Senegal. So he might be going to go play in the African Cup of Nations. So will he be a big miss in January, February if he's to leave, Jack?
I think he'll be a miss. I don't think it'll be a big miss. You know, you think about big players. You mentioned a couple of them, you know, Jack Clark and Dan Neil and Ballard, and I think they're the big misses. If you miss those, you know, they'd be critical, you know. But I think Bob will be a miss because he's improving all the time. You know, if you'd said to me at the start of the season, you know, you'll have Barr ahead of Patrick Roberts in certain games, I would have said no chance. There's a real gulf between the two of them. But Patrick Roberts has been slightly off a few times this season, and Barr's come good. I thought he when he comes off the bench as well, he's attacking the fullback and he is improving. So it would be a little bit of a miss. Yeah, I don't think a big miss, but you know, and you know, I think the key to having success in the Championship is, as I touched on earlier, sometimes strength and depth, isn't it? You need a squad that's going to be able to cope with a rigorous, intense game, not just on the technical side, on the physical side. The Championship's a really physical league, isn't it? In terms of, you know, League One and League Two is physical, but doesn't have the quality. But the Championship's got both at times, hasn't it? So you need as many players as you can get. So that would be a bit of a disappointment if we were to miss Bar for a couple of months. But the only sort of upside to it, Wayne, might be if we can maybe get somebody in on loan in January. You know, the option is if it is January that he goes, and you know he's definitely going, there might be an option to get somebody in, maybe from a Premier League team on loan for a couple of months till the end of the season. I don't know. You know, I know you're limited on the amount of loans that you can have, but that might be the only option. But it would be a little bit of a miss, yeah.
Potentially, Ahmad come back, Jack.
Wouldn't he be going in the same Cup of Nations, though?
Possibly.
Potentially Ivory Coast. Yeah, I don't know. Terry might have touched on a good point there. Yeah, potentially.
Also, Terry, as well, I heard that I've just been reading as well that El Shish might be going to switch allegiance to Algeria. So, and obviously we've got these attacking players, so potentially could lose Bar and El Shish in January, February. Do
you know what it is? I'll go against the run of the grain here. I haven't been really that impressed with them, to be fair. Aish, whatever you call him. I mean, I know he's injured. He's just getting back on the grass now, so he probably won't even play till December anyway. But I'm just not a massive fan at this moment in time, to be fair.
No.
I want to know what's happened to Bennett, Juice and Bennett. What's happened to him? Anybody know?
Jack?
Pass. I'm not sure. I'm interested to see about the fullback that we got from PSG. What was he called again?
Pembele.
I haven't heard anything about him even training or anything.
He came back. He was apparently about 3 or 4 weeks away, but he's had a setback in training. Him and the Lease here have had another setback. So he broke down. I don't think he's played since March. So he didn't want to get him back fit.
Don't even think he's on the grass at the moment. Pembele has been the same as like Corey Evans, Matete and Pembele, and on the grass at the moment, either. So it's unfortunate to have a setback, but we are getting these players in with injuries. So 1 or 2 probably won't work out for a while till they get themselves sorted out.
Aye. Mike, thoughts on losing Bar and possibly El Shish in January, February?
Yeah, I mean, I like Ashish from what I've seen. He looks like one of those creative, hungry players, but there's a lot to prove. You know, you can't judge much for 10, 15 minutes of football when he does get some time on the pitch. So we'll see. I don't think either will be missed as long as, touch wood, injuries stay okay. Because we have got a lot of depth now, and every time Roberts is on, he's playing superb. If he can maintain that game after game, I don't know. But like I say, Jack's got a good point of get a loan player in, get one or two in. Even not alone, if we look at the signings, because they were talking about signing a midfielder in the transfer market before it closed. So they might still have someone on the cards. You remember the list that they've got, you know, in the boardroom. There's probably still names on there. Yeah.
Like Ibrahimovic and all them that were on before. Right?
Yeah, he might still be on
there. Yes, Terry.
Yeah, I agree with Jack. I prefer at this moment in time, Bar to be on the bench and come off about 60 minutes. I think he's better. I think Bar sort of struggles against a big physical sort of brick shit house sort of defender. You know, the physical ones that get in your face, and I think at the moment he's a bit of a he's a skillful bit of a weak player, but he'll sort of build up and fill out as the couple of seasons go on. I think he's one for the future. Same as like Aish, what we call him, might be one for the future as well. He's got something about him, but I just think at this moment in time we've got better players on the park already.
Do you not think?
Sorry, Wayne. I was just going to say I thought Bar did okay against Leicester when he come on. I know he missed the gilt-edged chance, which everyone will sort of have a go at him for, but he come on and 2 or 3 times he got past their fullback and put a couple of crosses in. I'm not sure if anything came of them. I probably didn't, but I thought he looked lively and he looked energetic. And I think sometimes if you come off for 60, 65 minutes and you've got 20, 25 minutes, half an hour to make an impact, it spurs you on a little bit more, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And obviously competition for places, as we've touched on. But I think I would still have Robert slightly ahead of him at the minute, but Bar is a good option. So I think he would be a miss, but I don't think he would be a miss in the same way that, you know, one of your key players would be.
Yeah, it's very important to have someone like Bar on the bench because you need to have someone with that physical, sort of like the athleticism. You know, he sort of never stops running. He keeps a good engine on him, so he's very skillful at times as well. So for someone like him to be on the bench to come on when Roberts gets tired, I think it's very important. So if he does go to the African Cup of Nations, we do need to bring somebody in like to replace him.
Yeah. Do you not think then if we look towards January, so John Nesbitt's on a comment in the chat there about looking forward to the next window, do you think we'll lose players and do you know who they will be, who we would love a target man with a bit of experience? So do you not think if we could get some experience in January, maybe some loans, would it be beneficial for the likes of Emir, you know, and Bennett to go out on loan to teams, get a bit more first-time experience for the second half of the season? You know, if we do get promoted, these players haven't had championship experience, so we can't expect them to be ready for the Premier League.
I mean, we've still got all that money off Stuart's sale. I would rather go out and maybe buy somebody permanent rather than bring a loan in and maybe bring somebody in. Maybe they might be doing the work already. They might have people lined up or who they fancy bringing into the club. If that's the case, then the likes of me, it'd be great to go out and loan and see what he can do when he's in the lower leagues, just to get some experience and get used to the sort of speed of the game and the physical side of the game.
Yeah. Good point, Jack. What's your thoughts on, you know, potentially getting some better experience in January and then sending these young lads out on loan for the second half of the season?
I don't know if it's the model though. I agree with you. I would be 100% behind getting a 2 or 3 players in that maybe don't have as much sort of resale value, but might be able to offer you a bit more experience here. And now I'm not talking about 35, 36-year-olds, but even players maybe 28, 29, you know what I mean? Just for a year or two on a short-term deal. It's got to be the right ones, though, hasn't it? I think in terms of the areas, I think John's mentioning, you know, target man with experience, potentially. I don't know if we'll go down that route. I'll certainly have a centre midfielder. I know we've got Ekwa, but Ekwa's got injury troubles, and I think I would like another central midfielder, maybe who knows the game a little bit more, knows the championship a little bit inside out. You know, again, it's all speculation until you provide names, but I think I would like somebody there, and I still think we're short potentially at the back as well. You know, we've touched on Luke O'Nien's a great utility player, but long term, I think we could do with a centre back. So potentially those are the 2 I would look at down the spine, maybe. But yeah, I think in terms of letting the young players go on loan, I think you have to make sure that you've got the players in first, because you don't want to, you know, leave yourself too thin on the ground. As long as we get some in first.
Yeah, aye. Mike?
Yeah, I've solved it. It's all right. Free agents at the moment. Jesse Lingard's been out of contract since July, and David De Gea as a reserve goalkeeper wouldn't be a bad shout.
Dear me, Lingard. Just shows you when anybody touch him with a barge pole, how far he's fell.
Free agent, but I wouldn't like to see their wage demands.
He's a YouTube footballer, isn't he? One of those that you can put a 2-minute compilation together on YouTube and he looks like Messi.
Right, we've got 45 likes. I see if you can hit that like button so you wouldn't get anywhere near 100 before the end of the last 15 minutes. It seems I'm getting the wrong end of the stick when I've read that comment about the SAFC. So Marianne says Stream EMG affiliates with SAFC have removed the SAFC app from Google Play Store and now can't access it from a Galaxy tab that she purchased last year. She's only seen 12 games. They're forcing her to buy an Apple device to watch the SAFC. So it's the other way around. They've took it off Play Store and put it on Android. So I don't know if it's the club. It is a bit of a strange move. I know they've got this new marketing guy in, but until I get the full details of it, I didn't really know the ins and outs. Right, 15 minutes. We'll talk about Swansea in the next 2 or 3 minutes. But just another one that I've seen on social media, or there's been a rumour flying about that potentially could be bringing the old badge back for next season with a Hummel kit. Jack, what's your thoughts on that? A bit of nostalgia?
I must admit, we're not one of these that's that bothered about changing the badge. I think our fans sort of they get themselves a little bit worked up about it too much. I know there's probably people in the chat going to say, "You're out of order." You know that we prefer the badge with the ship on and all of this. It doesn't make much difference to me. I mean, me personally, I think you shouldn't ever go back too much because I think we were probably a different club when we had the badge there. You know, it's synonymous with Roker Park a little bit, and we have moved to the Stadium of Light. And I know I'm probably in the minority, but I don't actually mind our badge at the minute. I think it's got the red and white stripes on. It's got Sunderland AFC on, the Black Cats. It's got a couple of local landmarks. I think Weymouth Bridge and Pension Monument. I think it's all right. So I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these that would be up in arms if they did go back to the old badge. But I think sometimes our fans a little bit go over the top with it. That's my personal opinion. I think they're obsessed a little bit too much with changing the badge, and it's not something that really needs to be focused on too much, in my opinion.
It's not going to really affect most things on the pitch, is it really? Terry, what's your thoughts on that? Like Jack, does it really bother you?
I don't think it makes much difference if it's you have this badge on this kit. I mean, it looks horrible the way it is on this. The colour on this badge for me, it doesn't look very nice on this kit. But I prefer the stitched on badges as well. There'd be nothing wrong with having maybe it's this badge on the home kit and then the other one on the away kit. I mean, it's still be the same cost. End of the day, it's still going to make the badge regardless what shape or size it is and what's on it. So why not have one on one and one on another kit? Then everyone's happy.
Well, why not? Mike, do you want the 1937 one on?
It literally took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, are they allowed to do that? Do you have to have a singular badge to represent a club, or can they have a third kit with a retro one? I don't like it. I like to keep it moving forward because, I mean, I'm just having flashbacks from the thin stripes. Oh, it's retro. It's all this. Oh, it's the worst season we've ever freaking had. So, let's not go back. We like to reminisce of the glory days, but it wasn't all sweetness and roses with the old badge. We had hard times as well. So let's just concentrate on the future. That badge has become iconic. It's been long enough now that the new badge is iconic, that we need to keep that.
I think it's just that us older fans, the Roker Park days and the shipping got out. I mean, like you say, I'm not really too asked if it happens. If it happens, it does.
I love the fact that we're merchandising stuff with it. I love the fact that they've got a lot more retro stuff on the Sunderland store now. I think I've ordered every shirt. And the lads have got the training tracksuits that's got the old badge on that I've noticed coming into thing. I love that connection with the past, don't get me wrong, but we're not changing the badge for it. I mean, surely that's a cost that we don't need because it's not just on shirts, it's on the gates, it's on the ground, it's everywhere.
That's a good point.
I think there's a space for both, like Mike says. There's definitely a place for both.
Aye. Good shout, actually. Wouldn't mind changing the crest outside the main entrance. So you never know. Right, last 10 minutes. Move on to Swansea. Very quickly, I just want to say well done to Chris Rigg, who's been called up to the under-17 World Cup team. So even though he's missing, quite a bit of he's a month of action in Indonesia but apparently Tony Mowbray said it's in his long-term career, it'll stand him in good stead to play in the World Cup over there. So spot on. Well done to Chris Rigg. Right, Swansea. We know our record at Swansea isn't the best. We've go on, Terry.
Can I ask a question? Right, I want to know. Does anybody else know? Was Swansea the only team to do the double over us last season?
Oh, that's a question.
Don't know. I can quickly try.
Sure, someone will know.
Somebody know. While Jack's looking,
get it in the comments. First one wins. Come on.
I think it's either yes or no, isn't it?
I was looking today, a bit of research from the video and what have you. We've only won 3 times against Swansea since 1964. So we beat them in 2016 when Jermaine Defoe scored a hat-trick. We beat them in 2012. And then the last win before that was 1964 when Charlie Early and Nicky Sharkey scored. So, Terry, we're going to there. Do these records mean anything when we're going to these type of places?
I think Sheffield United did beat us twice yesterday. I only know because I've looked at it though. So mine, very good shout, Terry. You weren't far away, but I've just checked and I think Sheffield United did the double over us as well. So I
remember that now. Yes, definitely.
So yes, Terry, does them records mean anything when you?
No, not really. No, I mean, at the end of the day, stats are just stats, and new season, different team, different players, or some of the same players, whatever it is down to Sunderland, isn't it? We play well away from home. Swansea are a good side. They've always been, decent side over the years. Premier League, Championship. They were a good side last season. Finished 10th in the league. The 13th this season, 4 points behind Sunderland. They've had hit and missy form. They beat Blackburn last time out. They lost to Watford, lost to Leicester, but then they went on a game where they won 4 games on the trot. So they've gone through. It's the same as Sunderland on waves, on sort of crest of a wave. Then they've got a bit of a blip. So they're a good side. They've got decent players in. They've got Jerry Yates, who came from Blackpool last season, scored 4 goals in 14 games. They've got Jamal Lowe, who did really well. First time round for Swansea, 51 games, scored about, 14 goals. Then he went to Bournemouth. Then he's back on loan again now at Swansea, 9 games and 3 goals. So it's going to be a difficult game regardless. We've got to be on our best behaviour, at this moment in time. We don't do a draw, do we? We've won quite a few. We've lost quite a few. We've only drawn 1. So I'm hoping we can get a win. Back-to-back wins will be fabulous. And it's amazing when Dan Neil was playing, you don't realise how much you missed him until he wasn't there. And he comes back and you see the difference in the side. So for me, keeping the likes of Dan Neil and get Ekwa fit is massively important. And again, Swansea, I wouldn't even change the side from Saturday at all.
I think I might be tempted to bring Job out and bring Pritchard in.
Possibly, that could be the one.
Jack, what's your thoughts on what would your team be? Would you make any changes in these records? Do they mean anything? I know we've got probably a new team, really, haven't we?
Nah, not really. I don't think. I think football clubs change that much over years, don't they? You know what I mean? They change personnel, managers, system setups, grounds, and everything. I don't think I would pay too much attention to it. To be fair, I think you've got to look at how the club's playing in the here and now. Swansea are a little bit like us, dare I say it, a little bit inconsistent. They've won a few, they've lost a few. It's not going to be an easy game. I mean, I think they're probably as easy as a game as we were going to get last Saturday. You know what I mean? I think we're definitely in for a harder game. And until recently, we were playing better away from home, but we lost the last 2 out at Stoke and Leicester. So I think it's a tough one. It's a tough one to call. I'm looking down Swansea's squad, though, and they do have quite a few players that have got Premier League experience. You know what I mean? Terry touched on Jamal Lowe. They've got Joe Allen playing for them, who's had a couple of spells at Swansea. Matt Grimes is somebody who I would like to talk about, an experienced centre midfielder. I think he's someone in the middle who he protects the back four. He would be ideal. He's their captain. He would be someone I would look to, that type of player for us. They've got Kyle Norton, who's I think he was at Spurs a while back. But Charlie Patino's on loan from Arsenal. So they've got some good players, and they're a little bit inconsistent, as the same as we were. So it's going to be tough to call. But we've got no reason to fear them. I think we should go there and play the way that we can and try and play an open game. And I think we've got every chance of coming away with something.
Would you make changes, Jack? Would you have Job in, or would you?
See, normally I would, if we were at home again, I would say yeah, but I think Job sometimes might be able to offer you a little bit of legs, a little bit more. I think Pritchard's better probably on the ball and a little bit more experience, but I don't know. It's a difficult one. I do think Job could maybe do with the rest, so I potentially put Pritchard in. The only thing that would probably keep Job in is away from home, maybe on the counter-attack, a little bit more athleticism than Pritchard. But I've said Job should have a rest, so I'll probably be inclined to agree with you. I would maybe stick Pritchard in for Job, but I don't think you don't need major changes, do you? We played well last week, so
no. Good shout, Terry. Mute. Mute.
Bollocks. Do you think Job needs a rest after having a full week off? If it was Saturday or Wednesday, I could understand, but a full week off, a young lad, surely there's 6 days you can recover in time.
I think he mentally needs a rest. If he's a different player the last 2 games to what we've seen before. So I think he needs to sit out of a game for mentally needs a rest. I don't think physically.
Do you think he'll be sitting out of a game, though? Do you think he'll change?
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
No, I don't think he will. Just me personally, that's what I would do. I'd go with just the one change, but I think Mowbray will keep it the same. I'd be unless somebody pulls up in the warm up or gets injured in training today that we don't know about or something.
I mean, I think there was a stat today that said he's played more minutes already than he played the whole of last season. So, and out of the signings that we made, he's the one who's played pretty much every game, hasn't he? I think he has played every game. I think he even played in the Carabao Cup, didn't he? So, Terry, Mike, would you make changes for the weekend?
I think Job. I think he does need a rest. I think, like I say, mentally maybe more than anything else, and make him work a bit. Maybe on the bench and Pritchard starts. The other thing I'd like to see is Serkin get a start, possibly. If he's fit and able to do so. So that's the only real changes. I want to see Roosen start again. Burstow got the opportunity for 3 or 4 back-to-back games. I just hope he's not rolling it back with Burstow up front again. That's the only difference. But you're all wrong when it comes to the thing. We are cursed against Welsh teams. We have been cursed for a few seasons against Welsh teams. If Wrexham ever get in the same division as Cardiff, Swansea and us, we're losing 6 games.
Curse doesn't go in the same bin as luck. You create your own. You create your own on the day. You make the mistakes. You take your chances on the day. It's down to individuals on the park. For me, I'd keep Huggins. I wouldn't change it and have Serkin. I'd leave Serkin on the bench for now, just because he's been sort of had a few injuries in the past. I wouldn't want to rush him back into a full game. I'd be happy to give him 20 minutes of a few games and then bring him back eventually when Huggins' form dips. But I think Huggins has been playing well.
Aye.
How could somebody that's witnessed the beach ball at Liverpool not believe in luck for Sunderland? Come on.
Well, let's face it, somebody threw that on the pitch in the
Cause
first
and
place.
effect, isn't it? Cause and effect versus luck. That Liverpool fan threw it on the pitch, and the effect
That's
was.
right.
No, what I was going to say was one more reason to give Bellingham a little bit of a rest might be he might be raring to go the week after against Birmingham, his old club. Do you know what I mean? That might fire him up a little bit if he's. I know what Terry's saying. He's a young lad. Does he need a rest? But it might make him try a bit harder in training, and then he's raring to go a little bit more with the fact he's playing against his old club, Birmingham, a week later. I don't know if that'll be on his mind. It might not be. We're all just guessing, but that might be another reason to sort of make him a bit more raring to go against them.
Good piece of man management from Tony Mowbray there. I think it would be, wouldn't it? A bit of an incentive. Not a bad shout. Score predictions, and Terry. Score predictions for Swansea.
I'm going to go 3-1 Sunderland again.
Oh, I like it. Jack?
We haven't had a draw for a while, have we? We've only had 1 draw, and I can see this being a draw. I think Swansea and us fairly well matched. If it was at home, I'd fancy us to beat them, but away from home, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to go 1-1. I think we'll play okay. We'll play well enough. I think we'll get a draw, but I don't think we'll do quite enough to get a win.
Are you going, Jack?
I am, yes. I've got a lift. I've got a ticket a week ago and I still wasn't sure, but I managed to get a lift. So I am heading down there. So if you see us, give us a wave.
How many is going down? Do anybody know the total that's going down?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Terry. I know there's been people bought a lot of tickets that are sort of maybe haven't been able to get down and that. So I'm not sure. We might have sold a lot, but there might be a few empty seats, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. People that can't go and things.
Mike, score prediction for Saturday?
Well, I hope I'm wrong about the curse, and I hope Terry's right. So I'm going to go scraping a 1-0 win to Sunderland.
1-0, 1-0. Good stuff. Terry?
Yeah, I can't stand with this curse thing, right? The only way we'll lose on Saturday is if the referees are complete and our teams will perform. If Swansea play better than Sunderland, Swansea will beat Sunderland. If Sunderland play better than Swansea, Sunderland will beat Swansea unless the referee interferes too much.
Which is probably a knocking, but in it, like I say, I didn't imagine these players go on the pitch and think, well, we haven't won here for God knows how many years. I'm not even being the mind, will it? But you never know.
I don't know if everybody's the same. My head and heart have such a battle over score predictions. My head's going, don't be stupid, you're going to get beat. You're going to get a draw. My heart's going, they're going to win 4-1, man. Don't be silly.
Jack, I've gone for the same as you. I took a 1-1 draw as well. I just think two evenly matched teams. I think it's going to be two teams that like to play football, and I think like what Terry said, it'll be who performs best on the day for me. I think from what I was researching today that I think Joella might be injured. It'll be a big miss for them. But apart from that, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I've gone for 1-1. Right, just before we finish, very quickly, back in the chat. Paul Heron says, is Terry the new Stato? Terry for Prime Minister. John Nesbitt says 1-1. DJ says, LeWatson says, went to Wrexham in 1979. We asked the copper for directions. He sent us 5 miles the wrong way. Years before sat-navs. And Emma
should have put a Welsh accent on, man. Should have put a Welsh accent on.
Which way to the Welsh stadium?
And Emma says 1-1 as well. So that's all we've got time for.
Can I quickly ask before we stop?
Go on.
The way we've been playing, the results we've had, I know we've had that 3, a bit of a blip. Has it changed your predictions to where you think we'll finish this season so far, or is it still too early to tell?
I think, like what Jack was saying before, I think if we can get one of our strikers to go on a run of form and really hit the ground running like Russian, if he gets a few goals, I really think we'll be top 4 or 5. Jack,
we won't finish in the top 2, but we'll finish in the playoffs.
I think it'll be similar to last season. I think it'll be really nip and tuck whether or not we get in the playoffs. I think there's a good chance we could finish 5th or 6th, but I think there's also a chance we could just miss out and maybe be 7th, 8th. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do get in, but I think it'll be really tight because, as Terry touched on earlier in the show, at the minute you can see how tight the league is, and I think it'll be like that for most of the season. So I think it'll be nip and tuck, but I think we might just sneak in, maybe just get in again, hopefully.
Nice, well said, well said. Mike, what's your thoughts? Do you think we'll...
Well, my early prediction was top 2, but the form that Leicester and Ipswich are on, we're not going to touch it. So I'm hoping, 4th, 3rd, 4th.
I don't think Ipswich are going to stay there. I know they're playing well at the moment, but I just think they get a few injuries. I just think that they might struggle. I fancy either Southampton or Leeds to take 2nd. I might be wrong, but I don't know. It's one of them. Where Terry said, it's one of them leagues where you can win 3 or 4 games, then lose 3 or 4 games. That's the way it is. That's that tight at the minute. Apart from Leicester and Ipswich at the moment, are running away with it. We'll have to wait and see. Right, Terry, do you want to say your farewells?
Yeah, don't forget everybody to give the thumbs up on the channel. We're getting there slowly, but yeah, everybody enjoy your weekend. Hopefully 3 points coming back from the 2nd biggest city in Wales.
Well done, Mike. Want to say hurrah?
Thanks for watching, everyone. It was great to be here. Don't forget your Toff shirts. I must say, what you don't see is they are really comfortable as well, like more comfortable than the other Sunderland shirts. So I'm loving this. So that's what we should get for next season. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, well, I'll have Toff. I don't know about the giant badge. It might, track back the runners in the wind. But nipple rush. That's what that is. Jack. It was like a proper advert that Mike just did there. really. You should get some money for that. No, as I always say, thanks everyone for watching. We were just before blokes talking rubbish about football if it wasn't for people watching. So thanks for everybody giving us an audience. Hopefully 3 points. I'll see everybody later, lads and lasses. Yeah, and don't forget, if you do see Jack, get him a beer in down in Swansea. Like Jack's just said, thanks for watching. Appreciate everybody who's put comments in the chat and hit the like button. We're on 53 likes. Keep on hitting that for the last minute or so. But until the next time, we'll see you later. Ta-ra.